Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Own Your Breath podcast. I'm running an 8-episode series dedicated especially for women all over the world. And today with me is Candice Chaignat. I pronounced it correctly? Yay.
Very good.
Candice is a hypnotherapist and the founder of Mindology. And Candice has a very important topic that I find that it's necessary for it to be on my podcast, because it's a lot of people don't realize the struggle of being a trailing spouse, you know, when you move countries as expats. So life transition as a trailing spouse, very interesting to me. So Candice, welcome.
Hi, Rihanna. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I met you once and we clicked so well, and then I just love your energy. Yeah.
Likewise. Yeah, that's yes, it did click very well, as you said.
Yes, and I remember you even that was December. I'm so glad that we remember to get in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really glad to get to chat with you and to have the opportunity to share our ideas, and then to share the journey with other women. This is really important. Sisterhood is really important.
So true. And I'm sure a lot of women, want this to be heard, like expats, wives, because I mean, some of my friends are expats and they always talk about this, but no one has spoken it out loud. So I'm excited. Let's go. How long have you been in Singapore? Oh, by the way, Candice is from Switzerland?
That's right.
Yes, okay. Right. So how long have you been in Singapore, Candice?
I moved here about 8 years ago right now. Yes, I moved here with my family at the time. So I had 2 young children. My little one was 5 months old and my boy was 2 years old, just 2 years old. Yeah.
When you moved?
When I moved.
Oh, that's very young. And how was it for you then?
Well, it was quite a transition, like for everyone when you are relocating in a foreign country. And so I did relocate in the past as, like just for myself and with my partner. It's very different when you do that with a family. And, like at this stage in life. So it's quite a transition. You have to get used to the environment, like get used to the city. Where are things, like all these things. It's and all the logistic is it was exciting yet tiring at the same time.
Sure. So you were saying that it's different, moving countries as a single person. I mean, even as a single person, to me, I mean, when I say single, not married, it still took me a lot of adjustment, to find my footing in a new country, and then coming back again, another story. So I cannot imagine having 2 young kids with you, and try. Not only you need to make yourself familiar with this new country, new culture, and mind you, new accent. Singapore, by the way, very unique accent. Our first language is English, but because it is multicultural, so it has been Singlish, they call it.
Yes.
Yeah. So how was it then? You trying to be? Were you working then, or you just?
No, so yes, I was really the trailing spouse. So I did stop working for when we had children. So it was another relocation story where I couldn't work when I moved back to Switzerland because of the niche job I was doing at that time. So we decided to start a family with my then husband. And so when I moved here, I was taking care of the children. And so I stopped my career to have children. And then moving here was also another challenge because I kind of, like it's a big change when you decided to have a career and then you stop this and you change completely to take care of your family. So it was a different challenge because, as you said, Rihanna, you have to take care of yourself, but then you have other individuals that you are responsible for.
Absolutely.
And so trying to manage all these things, it's not that easy. The Singlish part definitely was quite interesting because English is not my mother tongue, and it was already, like something that I had to get used to. And then arriving here, sometimes I was thinking, are they talking in English or is it Chinese? So it took a little bit of time to adjust.
The struggle is real.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Because once in a blue moon, I do struggle. If it's too Singlish, I have to take double, triple take, So I can only imagine for expats, how is it?
It was quite interesting. This was definitely, it's Asia 101, right? It's easy Asia for a Westerner like me, but still there is still a little bit of some challenges that I hadn't experienced in my past relocating experience. I've lived in the US, so it was a little bit different. But yeah, as a trailing spouse, so that was a challenge, and also being on my own, having a partner who was traveling a lot. So more than 50% of the time I was on my own.
Do you have a helper?
No, I didn't. This is also something, like culturally that was a challenge for me because I would not see myself. It was a struggle hiring a helper, imagining that this woman would have left her family to take care of my children, and also like the privacy of your own home. It was something difficult for me to wrap up my mind with, like this idea of having someone in my household.
That's true. Yeah, I agree. And just for the rest from different countries that's tuning in or listening, and rather, Singapore is very common in Singapore to have helper. It's very, very common, and especially if you have children. So yes, but yeah, I can see why it's mind-boggling for you to have stranger in your house. Yeah.
Yes, so that's something, and like where I grew up also, it's like, okay, like we don't want to, it felt a little bit like exploitation in some ways, like seeing, like it was heartbreaking for me to imagine these women leaving their family. But in a sense, so it's also something that it is helping them. So they are making a lot more money and they are capable of helping their family. And hopefully the next generations will not have to do this, that their children will have the opportunity to spend their time with their family. So for me, I value, like this family bond. And so at the beginning, I didn't have help. And this is also one thing that I would have done differently. Looking back, like accepting some help. And at that time, I was at this, like stage in life that I was feeling very strong and feeling like I am the one responsible for taking care of the family and refusing a lot of, like help. So that's something that has changed tremendously, my way of thinking and approaching, like the concept of help.
I understand. Like I'm the same. I'm the same. Like recent years, I'm learning and gets better and better, being more open to asking for help, because we are so used to being independent, and well done us, good for us. And it's like,
yeah. It is.
I also like how you point out, which is so important, that your wish is that they make enough money in Singapore or wherever they are. So, and it's true, their family got more access to education, to quality education, and hopefully they, can stop this and have a better life. That's so beautiful thing to be reminded of. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So how has this, all this stress, stress being, I think there's so many layers of stress here. One, you left your career to become a mother. That's stressful. I think that is a big transition, and it's two kids, and you have to move countries, and then with your husband, and then struggling in Singapore, different culture, and I'm sure this is not even the whole list of it. How has it impact you or even your relationship?
Well, it's so Rihanna, as you said, like leaving my job and becoming a mother full time, and then moving to a foreign country where you are losing all your support system. I had a sense of losing my identity in many ways because I was of service for my family. And I did forget to be in service for the society and being in service for myself. And so I had this feeling of loneliness, also disconnection, because my husband was traveling a lot. He didn't lose completely his support system. For him, it was a continuation, a logical continuation. He was still connected to his job with, like having his coworker, doing a lot of socializing. Like he was still in his environment. He just relocated where he was living, but then he was still connecting with the same people and like having his meaningful job, like meaningful career and progressing in that way. For me, I felt stuck. I like I was at home, like it was beautiful. I was really lucky to have a gorgeous home. And when you have expat packages, you get good perks. Like you have the company is paying for your home. Like the children can go to nice schools and things like that. So it's the money is not an issue, but then it's the emotional support and that is lacking, and you have to, again, as I said, like redefine your support system and find a new support system. And you feel not understood by the people who you left behind, the people who are in your own home country. My family, my friends, they don't understand what is my daily life, what are my challenges. To them, it's like, okay, you've been relocated on this tropical island, this gorgeous island. You have everything you need, like it's like, okay, you have everything to be fully happy. And but then I don't have a person to talk to, like I didn't have a shoulder to cry on sometimes, or a safe space, right? And so I had to rebuild all that and find people who were aligned with, like what is important to me, find people who I would connect, like as just like you said, like to click with, and like where you have this support and doing activities, like find things that were recharging your batteries. Because I felt like it was very draining taking care of the kids, and like when they were sick, and I have like had to manage when one child is sick and the other one needs to like is your attention as well. And I need my own attention. There were some like sleepless nights when my son was very sick, and then like I didn't know if I had to take him to the hospital, and then my daughter was still needing me. She was like still a baby, and my then husband was on the other side of the globe. So that was challenging. So I decided in the end to hire helper for a little bit, but then that was not enough. So yeah, I had to do different things.
Why was it not enough?
It was not enough because I wanted to really get closer to my husband. I wanted to keep this family. So I found that my values were, like I wanted to have this family bond, and I wanted to reconnect with the person who, like this partner who we had a certain connection before having children. This is also a different topic, like how you shift yourself. So women, we go through a lot of shifting through our lives, like, well, so for me, I went from the single person to being in a couple, but we were very independent, and then we became a family. And this is where, you know, like I needed more of his participation, but he didn't see it this way. So that was quite different. So I started working at trying to get him involved and seeing that he was completely immersed into his job and that he was losing also part of his identity. He stopped doing the thing he was passionate about. And I saw that and I was trying to help. So I started reading all sorts of books to understand how I could, you know, like save my marriage. And then the help of having the support of this person coming in the house didn't help with that situation of disconnection with my partner.
It's going back to the point that you said, like your friends or your family overseas couldn't understand your challenges, your struggles over here. And I bet even in the eyes of the others here, you know, just to see someone, you know, not having financial problem or living in a nice house, it means that they are better off, right? I think generally people tend to have this ideology. If you've moved country, that means you are having the time of your life, a blast, things like that, right? And that's sad because I had the same trouble as well, same challenges, not in your capacity, but in my, you know, my own way. So I have lesser sympathy, and in fact, lesser caring from my family, because they just think I'm the lucky one, but they have no idea. You know, you've got your own struggle, your own grieving to do, because you've taken a new role, you left your life behind, you know, and for you left so many things to embrace this new character, if there's you know, so to say, and without support, you know, that's tough.
Yeah, well, it's a choice, and I see that, and I accept that they don't understand, and I understand that they know only what they can know, because we've, you know, like what their experience is
greener on the other side.
Yeah, and so, and that's okay, and I understand that some people might judge, and as you said here also, you know, like there might be some people seeing, oh, okay, she's an expat, so she has everything she needs. And this is true in many ways, you know, like it's easier for financially for an expat probably, that, you know, like it's just different challenges. And this is what's really true about life. We all have our own challenges. Absolutely. And it doesn't mean that even if the image looks beautiful, that we don't have challenges. Challenges are everywhere. And this is what helps us grow and move on, you know, like, and, you know, get to a higher stage in life, you know, like, how do you overcome your own challenges? So these were my challenges. And so in order to, you know, like, I knew that I couldn't find understanding that in them, you know, like they couldn't understand me. It's like, you know, like if you take an analogy, it was like looking for water in the desert. This is something they don't have. They don't have this understanding of what it is, a life abroad, where, you know, like you speak a foreign language, where the culture is different, where, you know, like you have to learn about how do you communicate with people? How are you getting efficient? Keep your boundaries, you know, like, and be open. And so dare greatly sometimes, you know, like this concept of Brené Brown, being in the arena and face all these things. And yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I love Brené. She's brilliant. Yeah.
She is, yeah.
So yeah. So what do you do? So with all these challenges, how does it impact your marriage, and what do you do to try to save yourself in a way, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, how did it impact my life in general? I this loss of identity, feeling like really like losing my identity. I was not doing things that I used to love. I was taking care of people, which is really important, but to me it was like not enough. I'm like, okay, I felt like I was dying inside, and I was really sad that I was losing my partner. I didn't have the support that I was I had expectations, yes, and those expectations were not met.
Yeah, you
So
you should have. You know, people always say don't
yeah.
have expectation.
Oh
That's
no.
not true. You should know you are deserving of expectation because you're worthy. Yeah.
Exactly, and this is, you know, like when you have expectation, then you go and meet people and find people who have the same expectations, the same
Correct.
values, you know, like, and then you share the same goals, and this is when things
Absolutely.
work.
Yeah.
So expectations are very important. But
Correct.
then this is when I realized that with my husband, we had different expectations, we had different values, we had different love languages, and we were simply drifting apart. So the marriage didn't survive. So I had to make a choice. I find myself, you know, like dying inside, like not knowing who I was anymore, what was meaningful for me. I found myself not being creating anymore. And this was one day when I realized that I was trying to open the eyes of my partner to get closer to me, that I was realizing that I needed to open my own eyes. I
Wow.
needed to take care
Yes.
of my own self.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was my responsibility.
Correct.
So this is when I realized that I started to take care of myself and starting to understand what is it that is going on inside. Why is my flame dying? And then instead of taking care of everyone around me, starting to take care of myself. And this is when my life transition completely started, my rebirth, what I called my rebirth. And so what did I do? I started to do things that I love, that I used to love. So I reconnected with my old self, my younger self, not my old self, my
Yeah.
younger self, the one who felt alive. Who was I when I was feeling alive? What was I doing? And so I reconnected with her, and so I started dancing again, and I started painting again, and so this creativity came back, you know, like this sense of creation. And I decided that I wanted to work again, but I didn't want to go back into the work field that I was before I had children. I wanted to do something meaningful, so I was in search of my ikigai. Do you know the Japanese concept, the ikigai, to do something that I love, that I am good at, or I can become very good at it, and then that has a certain significant contribution for others, and that is at the same time bringing me money. So I had also this need to have like to be self-sufficient, and you know, like, and to be able to generate my own, you know, like my own money as well, because this is also something that I left behind. It was also part of losing my identity. I was not self-sufficient anymore.
Yeah.
So
So how do you so this part where you are finding yourself, you know, finding your independency again, not finding yourself, rather connecting to yourself again, you know,
yes.
yourself. Were you still together with your husband then? Or you,
So yeah, it was a process that started when we were together. I started dancing again. I wanted to include him. I asked him if he wanted to take some classes with me, which he refused. And so I really realized that we are very different. He's a wonderful person. He's a very wonderful man, but we were very different, and we were just not going on the same, you know, like our path were just drifting apart. And so I started the process, and also this sense of one thing I didn't talk about, this sense of belonging, Rihanna, you know, like you were saying, like relocating, I needed to belong. I needed to belong here.
absolutely.
And so I did start looking for my tribe, the people who are interested in the same thing as me, have the same, you know, I'm talking again about values, about interest, you know, what is meaningful, you know,
Yeah.
like what. So I looked for people who had the same interest in life, and so I started dancing, and this is where I found my best friends, and then with that I could connect with people, you know, like create this social life, and you know, like being connected with others again, and being able to share how I'm feeling, and to be able to express myself. and enjoy life, have fun as well, you know, like really like starting to, that's the meaning of life, you know, life is meant to be fun, to be enjoyed, and you know, like, so
you know, very often I think as we adult, you know, as in, you know, life gets to you, right? And then we forgot the pleasures that we used to have, you know, we forgot um play, like we forgot things that brings us joy. And you, what you did was exactly right, you know, reenacting back to your passion. Yeah.
yes, yes. And so this is exactly, you know, like this was really interesting. So I was still in my marriage at that time. And but when I started dancing again, when I started living again, then I did ask, you know, like my best friend, I told her, I say, I looked at myself in the mirror and I find my eyes are different. And she said, yes, I know. You feel so, you know, like it looks very different, much brighter. And I was like, yeah. So life was coming back in me. And this is really strange, Rihanna, because at that time I felt like I was dying inside, and I had the impression that I would die young.
Do you
And I
think you
realized that
were,
I did.
do you think you were a bit or quite depressed then?
I was, I don't know if it was some sort of depression. It was a struggle for sure. Struggle. I was struggling.
Okay,
And because but I felt like, you know, like this life doesn't make any sense. This feeling of like, that's, you know, like this, seeing this beautiful picture that is starting to crumble. It's cracking and
yes.
everything's like, this picture is not me. Everything that I have built here is not me. This is
Correct.
what people wanted me to be. This is not
Yes.
who I am. This
Yeah.
is not who I want to be. So depression, I don't know if it's depression, but I had this sense of the butterfly effect, if you want, you know, like really being this in this cocoon and starting to dissolve, you know, like this caterpillar changing, transforming, this transformation phase.
Yeah.
And that it's painful. It is ugly, you know, like it's not a good feeling, but
Yeah.
you have a sense that there is something different, something much more beautiful on the other side. And so I felt like, you know, like, that's this dying process.
Yes,
This is my
absolutely.
dying young.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
And
The reason why I said, I asked you, do you think you might be feeling depressed or depression? Because you said you thought at the moment you're going to die young. So that's one of the, you know, I'm not saying you did have, but it's one of the common signs that that's the depression, you know. So because I had that before. So I had severe depression before I crashed into serious depression. Again, because I was doing everything what people wanted me to be, but you know, but not me. Eventually, I crashed, and then I always think I'm gonna die young. But I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't suicidal at all because suicidal has never been in my dictionary. But apparently, when I see a psychiatrist is saying that you know, like thinking that you're gonna die young because subconsciously it's like I cannot go through this, you know, like this life anymore. That's this pain, this life. I might as well just end my life subconsciously. The more we heal and then we become alive, and then I don't have that thought anymore. You know, and
yeah,
yeah. So I mean, at least that's for me. So I'm not a doctor.
yeah. No, that's very interesting. Yes, definitely. I think that for me, I don't think I had really depression per se, because I had like more like I still had this, you know,
Anxiety.
and no, I was still like trying to move forward, trying to move
Ah,
forward, trying to
yeah,
move forward. But
yeah.
then it was like kind of seeing like, yes, I am moving forward, but then at the same time, I feel that part of me is really not there anymore.
Ah,
And then that's when and I thought that really that something would happen, that I would die, like an accident or something. And I didn't know why until I really understood it was my subconscious mind telling me really like, hey, wake up, Candice, this is not you, you know, like you
yeah,
need to bring that you back to the surface.
yeah.
And so when I started dancing and painting, then I felt like the life flame inside was burning again, and then becoming bigger and bigger. And this is when I had to make the decision. I saw like, okay, is this life as a mother, as a wife with this partner of mine making sense? And I saw that we disagreed on, like our future, things we wanted to do. Like for him, his career was really important. This was what he was following. And I have been the follower, like the people pleaser kind of personality, that I would do things for others, the giver.
Yeah.
And I realized that, no, I don't want to follow again. I want to stay here. I felt that I wanted to stay in Singapore, and I'm like, I am not going to relocate again. He wanted to relocate at that time. And
he wanted to relocate.
And I did. Yes. He had another opportunity in Hong Kong, and I didn't want to go to Hong Kong. And I realized that I'm going to follow my intuition. I'm going to follow what I want. And then I realized, okay, like he doesn't seem very happy in our relationship either. He doesn't want to come home. He's doing a lot of things outside. So there is also something that doesn't work for him and for me too. So the both of us are dying inside.
Yeah.
And so this is when I reflected, is it better to stay in that relationship or to separate? And I thought about the children, of course, like when you are parents, the responsibility you have is to bring up your children the best you can. And for me, that was a huge question. Is it better for the children to have parents who are separated or parents who are together? And then I came to the conclusion that it would be better for them in my situation, because it's different for every couples, right? So in my situation with what I had and what I weighed, like the conclusion I had is that I would not be happy in this marriage. There were very important factors that, like values that were different, that were clashing, and that was making us not working together. And so I decided that it would be better for my children to have happy, separated couple as parents, rather than unhappy and, like feeling unfulfilled parents who stay together for the sake of the children. And so we did separate, and it was actually difficult. It's not easy, even though it was a amicable divorce that we went through. We both agreed that it was what we had to go through. So it was a long process, not so long as some divorce, but it was a long process that, like you have to accept. You have to go through the things, like it's not something that you decide one day, okay, we separate. So you have to move through all those feelings, like learning to let go of this past, like that we had together, and move forward, and like and redesign your life. And now we are so that's what we did, and it was very beneficial for me. I felt like being alive again. I redesigned my life completely, created my ikigai, and reconnected with who I am fully. And so for him, it was the same. So he went through the same process as me. So it was a liberation for him as well. And he could become truly who he is.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have to applaud you for being so strong, and it takes a lot of courage and strength to call that decision. That's a big decision, and to choose you, because women have a tendency to always, want to care for others so much, not them first. What you did, this is just my opinion, though. I think I've always believed, if you've tried so many ways, if it doesn't work and you are deteriorating inside, it's important that you care for yourself first, and find that joy and light again in you. And you did exactly that. And look at you now. You're a powerful woman, a strong woman, and 100%, I'm sure your children, benefit a lot in seeing this this whole process, you know, so
Mm-hmm.
that we
Mm-hmm.
put condition that you must stick together all the time, even it's not working. So children have to see, you know, this toxic energy within the house, even if you don't argue openly in front, you know, the energy is
Yes.
in the house. But
True.
now they will know, but and because your relationship is still good with your husband, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
good partnership taking care of the children. So now they're gonna grow up knowing that it's okay to, you know, you can choose yourself and stop loving, but still, you know, care for each other and be a good team.
Completely.
Amazing, amazing, yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. So you're right. We are in very good term. We are friends now. So we do things together, and we even go on vacation together. You know, like and we have our own, you know, like respective lives, and you know, like, our own partners.
Yeah.
We are open to that. This is fantastic. And I see, like, as you say, for the children, they saw us choosing to respect our values and who we are, and being respectful to the other. So that's, we separated very respectfully, and I think this is exactly as you said, Rihanna. And I think this is a good lesson for them to learn. You know, like, this is okay to disagree. You can, and things can end as long as you are respectful. You know, like this, and you are respecting yourself, and you are
Yes.
respecting the others. This is what truly
Yeah.
matters.
Yes.
And then, so yeah, for me, this separation, it's I chose, I didn't choose to keep the comfort, you know, of what
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah.
I chose courage and dared to go towards the unknown. And I never regretted that. It has been the best decision.
I'm very
So
sure. And I also believe, you know, you could make this decision because you have a healthy self-worth. You know, you were
mhm,
losing it a bit at one point, and then
mhm,
you you know, do some work around it to find yourself again and feel worthy. That's why you could make that big decision. And this will have
mhm,
an impact with your children as well, that, you know, um, they will also mirror you in the, you know, when they grow up, that um, they don't have to be in somewhere and continue to lose your self-worth if they're not happy. And they can
yeah.
choose, they're safe to choose themselves and still be respectful.
Exactly, exactly.
That's a good
So they know,
example.
like, this sense of integrity, you know, like, be yourself,
Correct.
and then you will be accepted the way you are if you surround yourself with people who are for you, you know. And
Yes. And
this is what's important. And yeah.
and I also I like the point that you make, you know, like it is so normal when you move countries, sometimes when you are in your own country, you can feel lonely. You know, you can be in a noisy place, you can feel lonely, you can feel that you're not understood. So what Candice did, and I would advise whoever feeling so to do the same, is so she started looking for her people. You know, you do have to, as much, I mean, as much as sometimes we drag it, right? Like, but you do have to find your tribe, because you're not alone is a limiting belief. I felt alone when I came back to Singapore, you know, and then I snapped out of it. I'm like, stop. I cannot be the only person with this mindset, this whatever in Singapore. And then, and at first what I did, I reached out to my friends overseas, you know, because you don't lose touch, you lose touch over the years. But then I'm like, no, but they've been my great friends. So I keep in touch with them. And then I start reaching out in Singapore at my own pace, you know. You can take
Yes.
your time. Yeah. So thank you.
Yes, totally. So yes, definitely connecting with people, you know, like, with a tribe is really important, and reach out for help. So I did also, one thing I did is that I did look for a coach. I had a life
Oh,
coach, and
yes.
you know,
So
like, this is,
important.
I have support, you know, like the support system.
Yeah.
So that was really, really important. And you know, like, through this life coaching, was doing group coaching. I found other ladies who were in situations that were different than mine, but there were some similarities, and that we could, like really share, like what we were going through, and have some compassion, and listening, like having a listening ear, like that would be there for you. And this is, we were talking at the beginning about sisterhood. This is what it is, and it's fantastic. And as you said, yeah, I totally agree, Rihanna. We are not alone. Sometimes do, and feel alone. And when we are reconnecting with ourselves, this is when we are starting to be open to connect with the outside. And we realize that when we do connect with all these people, we realize that we all have the same wounds. We all have the same troubles we are going through, and what is beautiful is when we can support one another.
True. I am with you, because that's how I also find my footing back when I'm coming back to Singapore. So Candice, what would you advise for women, trailing spouse that are struggling?
Yes. Yes. So, well, to go back to what we talked about, my journey, like definitely like reconnect with what you love, like what you love doing when you were happy, when you were a child or early adulthood. Connect, like if you like doing yoga, or you like doing, like, I don't know, what is it that makes you happy? Go and do that. And there you're probably gonna find people who are like-minded. And this is where you might also find your tribe, and find people who will be there as a support system. So yeah, try to look for what makes you feel alive and connected. And then once you start doing this, taking action, doing this thing, you will connect with people, find people who are in the same direction. And then, yes, so build this support system. And there are also, like, like you can find teams, or, like groups on Facebook of people who have the same, like activities, the same activities, or the same interest. Look for those communities. Find a coach. I think this is sometimes very helpful for some people. If you feel like there is nothing to be ashamed of, to ask for some help and some support. Like train your mind, connect to yourself, to your emotions, take care of your body, mind, soul. This is really, really key. Don't hesitate to ask for help. And yeah.
Very nice, beautiful. So everyone, we've come to an end. So Candice does run mythology workshops. Would you like to? Yeah, I think you got a workshop coming up.
Yes. So yes, that's right. So I do mind training. So using hypnotherapy, inner child regression therapy, and I help people who are going through transition, like finding answers within themselves, find the tools that they have within themselves to move through life. And I offer like group sessions now. Yes, that's so I will have a new course starting in April. I just had some workshops. The next workshop will be early April. You can check that out on mindology.com. And I also offer one-to-one work for life coaching, and to help people move through their life. Yes.
Sounds beautiful and delicious.
Yeah, thank you, Rihanna.
You're welcome. I'll be adding the website in my description, so you can reach out to Candice easily. So thank you so much, Candice. It's been such great conversation, and and I like that you're very honest. Your real struggle, and thank you for daringly being vulnerable, bravely.
Yes, thank you.
Vulnerability is easy, but this is the beauty, though. When you've done your inner work, you turn your vulnerability, your weakness, your shame into power, and now it becomes your purpose. That's why, this is exactly what Candice have done, and this is exactly what happened to me as well.
Yes. So yeah, thank you, Rihanna.
Most welcome. Thank you so much, everyone. The podcast, the series before this is about understanding intimacy, sex, and longings, something like that, love and longings. So Wana therapies debunk the myth, the misunderstanding of that. I think it's really good to listen that. If you listen to this, you haven't listened to the other episode. They are connected actually, I feel. Yeah.
Oh, very
Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much, Candice. I look
Thank
forward
you,
to
Rihanna.
you.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you
Most welcome.
had
Thank
a
you,
good
everyone.
time.
I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.